Esse vídeo está chegando até você graças aos apoiadores do canal. Considere apoiar nosso projeto no Patreon ou no Padrim. Os links estão na descrição do vídeo e no comentário fixado.
Do your best to give a summary of the history of Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro.
The actual history is that, thank God, I've had a really, well, when I say privileged life, I don't mean privileged in terms of economics. I grew up in a house with 3 younger sisters, and all 4 of us shared 1 bedroom in a 2-bedroom house with 1 bathroom until I was 11. So it really isn't it really isn't privileged that way. I'm privileged because I have an amazing set of parents. I have a 2-parent family. I have great siblings. I grew up in a really solid community that shared, I think, a really great set of values. I was able to go to good schools, and I was able to have excellent teachers. And my parents made sure that I learned from as many people as humanly possible. They opened a lot of doors for me to be able to experience different ideas. And you know, because of that, and because I tend to be pretty hungry for knowledge, I spent an enormous amount of time outside, in and outside of school, reading, educating myself, becoming good at what it is that I do. And I spent a lot of years perfecting that. I mean, I've been writing syndicated columns since I was 17 years old. I'm now 37 years old. So I've been doing this for 20 years. And you know, you try enough things and you fail at enough things, and eventually you get good at things. And I think that's the story of this company. I think that's the story of sort of my career. I think the most important thing about me personally is that I happen to be a fantastic father and a fantastic husband. Those are the 2 most important things about me, and I say that with all due humility. But I actually am really, like, of the things in my life that I'm good at, I am the best at being a father, and I'm the best at being a husband. I'm excellent at it. And I take great pride in that.
I love that, because I think family is the most important thing. Like, it really is. Like, none of it means anything if you don't have your family, if you don't have your family in order, if you don't have your house in order. And I think that that's kind of one of the things that we really get right as conservatives, and the left really gets wrong with them trying to strip down the family, because it all starts from there. If that's not right, nothing in your life can really be right. I guess my story is very obvious, I guess very opposite, in that I came from nothing. I had a very disruptive household growing up, but I was very fortunate to have my grandparents, and when they saw what we were living in, which was, you know, a roach-infested apartment. Me and my 2 sisters shared a bedroom. My grandfather just said, I don't want my grandbabies to grow up like that because I worked too hard for them to grow up like that. He grew up on a sharecropping farm, grew up in the segregated South. Never, ever heard from his mouth growing up in his household. I moved into his house when I was 9. He's never uttered one bad sentence about a white person. And so it was sort of that quiet knowledge. He never, ever said anything against white people. And I think just being able to sit around the breakfast table with him every morning, it was, you know, all about reading the Bible. We had prayers. We had to study from the Bible every single morning as he'd make us this big Southern breakfast. Like, that is what shaped Candace Owens. That is the Candace Owens story. And it was happening subliminally. I mean, it never meant politics to me. I just knew my parents got something wrong. My grandparents got something right. And that's ironic, because we're supposed to believe that the way my grandfather suffered is why we're dealing with all of this stuff now. My father obviously grew up in a later time, and yet he got something wrong, and my grandfather got something right growing up in the 40s. Married at 17, never, you know, divorced my grandmother, you know, stayed with her until her dying day in 2013. So, you know, my story is my grandfather's story, and I think my perspective of the world is informed by how could I, as a Black American, complain when my grandfather never did, and his first job was when he was 5, you know, laying tobacco out to dry on a sharecropping farm. I'm insulted by Black Americans that complain today. I'm genuinely insulted by it. I think we do our ancestors the greatest disservice, the ones who worked hard so that we could have these opportunities to walk into any room and to not say, look, me, I'm a Black person, and so I deserve this. So the people that worked, you know, didn't live through a day of strife are the ones with all the complaints. And my granddad was just sort of a no-nonsense, you're going to work every day kind of guy. And he still remains the greatest blessing and the biggest influence in my life.
Olá pessoal, tudo bem? Aqui é o tradutor. É graças a essas pessoas incríveis que eu posso estar trazendo conteúdo para vocês. E é isso aí, pessoal. Não se esqueçam de deixar seu like, seu comentário e até mais. Fui! Grande abraço.